I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Today I want to show you the craft tool that I got for my birthday and some of the things that I've been making with it, and then I will show you how easy it is to use it. It is called a Zoom Loom. It's a pin loom, and this is made by the Shat Company. They make other looms, spinning wheels, and I have made a shawl with it. I'll put a link in the description below of the pattern that I used. But what the Zoom Loom creates is little squares that you can weave using yarn. I used 2 skeins of a variegated sock yarn, and because it's variegated, then it made the squares different colors. And then I used another skein of yarn to crochet the pieces together. And you don't need to know how to crochet to use the Zoom Loom. That's just how I chose to attach them. But there's lots of different ways to attach your pieces. So when you weave with the Zoom Loom, you end up with little woven squares. And if you think about it as if it were a quilt, you can start to think about the possibilities of how you can put different colored squares together to create a design. What I'm working on right now is an afghan, and I've got some yarn. This is hand spun wool that I'm using, and I've got some that is this pink, and then I've been using some cream, and then I'm going to dye a few more colors and make a pattern for the afghan. So on the back it tells you how many yards you need to complete one square. You need 8 yards, and this one creates a 4x4 inch square. And then it also tells you on the back how many wraps you will use for the weaving part of the project. And that will be important later, but it's handy that it's there in case you forget and need to remind yourself. There are pretty detailed instructions that come with the Zoom Loom, so it makes it pretty easy to follow along and to know what to do. But I'll show you how easy it is to do it. So you're going to put the yarn in this groove here, and then to the left of this bottom peg, and then straight up and around these top 2 pegs. Notice how the pegs are grouped into different groupings. They're not just evenly spaced all along. And then you're going to bring it down and go around the right 2 of this first grouping, and then around the right 2 of this grouping, and back and forth along the right 2 on the top and the bottom both. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you're not pulling this yarn very tight, because you're going to need to be able to weave under over later. So you want it to be not super loose, but have some give to it. One of the things I really like about this Zoom Loom is I can take it places. I've taken it to the doctor's office. I've taken it to my husband's blacksmithing convention. It's just very portable and small and easy to do, and it's also, you can get it done pretty quickly, so you feel like you really accomplished something in a short time period. Okay, when you get to the end of the first row, you're going to turn the loom and then bring it around the first 2 pegs. And then you're going to bring it around the last 2 in this first section. And you're going to go back and forth going around the last 2 pegs on the top and the bottom, back and forth. The first few times that I did this, I had to consult the book, but after you make 4 or 5 squares, it's pretty easy to remember the pattern. And when you get to this last one here, you're just going to go around the last peg, then turn the loom, and then I'm going to go around the top. So basically the corner 2 pegs here is what I'm going around. And then instead of going around the last 2, I'm going to go around the 2nd and 3rd pin on this first, and then because it has 4, and then here, since it has 3, I'm going to go around the 1st and 2nd pin. And if you notice, it's creating a second layer, but it's not right on top of the first layer. So you have a very distinct order to the strings by doing it this way. So I'm going to go around the 1st and 2nd, back and forth on the top and the bottom. And then this is where that 5 wraps is going to come in to play. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around around all the pins 5 times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's all the yarn I will need to complete that square. So then I will thread the needle, the long needle that comes with the Zoom Loom. And now we get to do the weaving part. So I'm going to go over this outer loop, but under this first one, and then I'm just going to go over, under, and then this next one is going to go right in between these 2. So I'm going to do it at between the 2nd and the 3rd pin over. And if you'll notice, then there is 1 strand here that comes before that. So I'm going to pull that strand back, and you could use a fork or just use your needle to kind of pull that strand back. And then this next one will go in between those 2. I will put a layer in between. Again, I'm going to go over this loop on the corner and then under the next, and then just keep going over and under all the way across. So by doing the 3 layers of yarn on the loom before we start weaving, you're actually doing all of the warp and then half of the weft. So there's not as much weaving necessary, which makes it a pretty fast process. And then I'm going to come out before the first pin on this set of 3. And And I'm going to, that's my one that I just wove, and then I'm going to push back this next one and kind of get it where it needs to go. And then I will come in here and go in between the second and third pin. And again, there should be a loop right here that I'm going around. I'm going to go over, then I'll go under, over, and I'm going to come out here before this next grouping of 3 pins. And then I'm just going to keep doing this back and forth all the way to the end of the loom. I've woven all the way across, and I have my yarn coming out here at corner number 3. I don't know if I showed you, but all the corners are numbered. And I'm at right before the last 2 pins here, corner number 3. And I'm going to do one last row across by coming in here at the corner, just right in between this set of 2 and this set of 2. And just like I've done before, I'm going to go over this corner loop and then under, and then over and under, all the way across. My very first square that I tried to do, I used a cotton yarn, and it was very tight here at the end, and I couldn't get it across. I ended up having to just go up and down to get across. And since then I've learned to have my first 3 layers be not super tight, and also to use a yarn that's got a little bit of a give to it. Then I'm going to leave my tails because I will use those later when I sew the pieces together. And so you can just then pop it off and it's all done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.